All right. Let's get cooking. Hello, D-Gens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the Brofict one, AJ. Happy Sunday, September 14th, 2025. Hope you are having a great day, ready to get going with great NFL action all day long. Yeah, that's right, all day long. We are here for it. Before I go any further, though, I do just want to take a moment. Shout out to everyone watching here on Rumble, over on YouTube, X, TikTok. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow. Does help us out a lot more than you know. With that being said, let's get into it because we do have a great slate. We have a great slate today. Couple of bummer games, but nothing that is too bad. I think that we are really in for a great day. And let's just go ahead and get it started off and drop your, if you got any fantasy football sit starts, go ahead, drop those in the chat, and then we will see what's going on with your fantasy team. I'm stoked on my fantasy team this year so far. I'm not going to lie. I'm in 11 different leagues. And so I like all of my teams, obviously. You know what I mean? It's like a child, you love your teams because they're your teams, but you gotta nurture them, you gotta love them, and you gotta make sure that roster is healthy. And so we'll keep that going. Starting off, Jaguars Bengals, the first game on the slate today. Jaguars, 3.5 point road dogs here. 49.5 is the total. And I gotta say, I do respect what the sportsbook is doing with Jacksonville. It's a hard team to handicap, and so are the Bengals. I mean, and the public is showing the same thing. 52% of the bets, 39% of the money on the Bengals with the spread. That line has moved from 5.5 down to 3.5. But 92% of the bets, 89% of the money on the Bengals money line. I mean, the Bengals are going to eat. Like, I think we need to make that clear. Like, Jacksonville is not a team that is good. Let's call it duck a duck. You know what I mean? Like, they're not a good team. And listen, the coaching is fine. Everything is fine. But that's the problem with the Jaguars. Everything is fine. Nothing is good. And I think that's going to continue to be an issue for them. I think the Bengals are in a really good spot. I don't think they started off as fast as they thought they were going to start off when, you take into account the fact that they actually played their starters in the preseason games. It still felt like a lot of the same from last year. And granted, tough defense they were playing against. And I think they're going to have a field day against Jacksonville. I will take that 3.5. I will give Jacksonville, again, credit where credit is due. Trevor Lawrence looks a little bit better. But that's the problem. He looks a little bit better. He doesn't look a lot better. He doesn't look 100%. He looks a little bit better than he has over the last couple of years. And, for quote unquote generational talent that we were touting him as, it's hard to do it. It's hard to sit there and watch it happen. I'm sorry, it is. But so I'm all over the Bengals, minus that 3.5. Giants, Cowboys. I think this is the biggest no-brainer game of the day. Oh, Road Dog in the chat. What's up? Hate that new Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter commercial. God bless. I haven't seen it yet. Unless you're talking about the float. Come on, ride the float. Ride the float. I don't know, man. I will say, what the hell is Travis Hunter even doing? Like, is he even playing? Like, honest to God, did he even take snaps last week? Like, I had that game in the quad box, and it was disappointing. Like, I was hoping for something, but anyway. Over on TikTok, what's good, boys? Dr. Sent, who should I start? Hollywood, Coleman, or Waddle? I would probably go with Coleman. I don't have, as a Cardinals fan, I've never had a lot of faith in... Oh, I'll see it this weekend, Road Dog. Thank you. I've never had a lot of faith in Hollywood Brown. I know he was Kyler Murray's best friend in college. That's fine and dandy. Doesn't mean he can catch a fucking football. So that's where I think you're at there. K9, Keon, or Hollywood for the flex. Give me Keon, dude. Keon all day long. Pearsall or Henderson at flex. Give me. Let's talk about that. I think I'm going to go with Trayvon Henderson there. Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins 1.5 point favorites, which is a fucking joke, if we're going to be honest. And the public is kind of understanding the assignment as well. 49% of the bets, 68% of the money coming in on the Patriots. I think Trayvon Henderson is going to absolutely eat today. I think the Patriots are going to eat as a team. So I would go with that. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate it. Travis got 6 receptions for 33 yards. Exactly, Wick Dways. He didn't do shit. He should be on the defensive side of the football. I'm sorry. I have nothing but respect for Travis Hunter and the fact that he can play both ways. But why would you waste a fantasy spot? Why would you waste a roster spot? He was a better cornerback than he was a receiver, and they're trying to make receiver happen. And it's not going to be a thing. And so I'm really down on Travis Hunter. I really wish he would just stick to the defensive side of the ball. I think he would be an absolute dog, but they can do what they want to do. They're the billionaires, I guess. Going back over to TikTok, Lucas, Pearsall or Henderson at the flex. We talked about that. Give me Henderson. Swift or Sampson. Jerome, I would probably just go ahead and forfeit this week if that's what you got to deal with. But I'd probably go Swift. I hate it. I hate the Bears. I'll be honest. I hate the Bears. This is a bad team. This is a bad football team. Very bad football team. And it has nothing to do with how it's being coached or anything like that. It's just a bad team. Caleb Williams is not a good quarterback. That defense is solid enough. That offense is good enough that there's enough talent there that they can get by. But no one's going to buy it. No one believes it. And you shouldn't believe it. The Bears are a very bad football team. And so with that being said, I would go Swift. Justin Fields, Mr. Purd in the chat. You want me to talk about Fields or Hurts? Well, let's talk about it because I do kind of hate Justin Fields, but it's not for the reasons you think. I'm more upset than anything because Justin Fields happens to be playing great football, when he's just not a Bear. And I said, listen, it's the system. It's not how he's playing it. And that has come to light. You know what I mean? You give Justin Fields the system that he needs to work in, that RPO, let him run, let him develop the plays. He can work in that system. Buffalo 5.5 point favorites, though. I will take Buffalo. But with that being said, I think the Bills defense is a little soft. And so I would start Justin Fields over, Jalen Hurts. And for the sole reason that this Bills team is good. That offense is so fiery and is explosive. But we're to the point where great defense wins championships. And I didn't see enough out of week 1 for the Bills defense to be all that good. I think the Jets have a solid O-line. I would start Justin Fields over a Super Bowl rematch in Kansas City. Yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with that. That was a great question, Mr. Purd. That is, but also a great situation you want to be in. Okay, I have to play Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts. Oh, fuck me. Dude, you're chilling. What up, Allen or Charb? Talking about Charbonnet? Zach Charbonnet? I would start Charbonnet. I love Zach Charbonnet. Ian in the chat. Henderson or Keenan? You're in a PPR league. Henderson is solid. I'm not going to lie. Henderson is solid. I like the matchup today. I'm just, I am all over that Bills offense. If you can get me any action. And since Stephon Diggs has left, and we've seen it happen multiple times, just throughout last season, Josh Allen can open it up. And he can feed everybody. And so he'll get a fair amount of receptions. I would look at Keenan Allen. But which Keenan are you talking about? That's the problem. We got to start using first names. But Brady in the chat, Dak or May? I mean, listen, them boys are going up against one of the worst teams in the league. And don't get me wrong, that defense for the Giants has gotten a little bit better. It's nice to have Sexy Dexy back in the fold, fully healthy. With that being said, though, that secondary is Swiss cheese. There are so many holes in it, dude. Like, it's ridiculous. So I would probably lean on Dak here. And May, I mean, did we see a lot out of May last week? And, we talk a lot about this Dolphins team. I'm not there. Like, I'm not there at all. So yeah, I would start Dak. I just don't trust what we saw in May. And I think it's more of, I think the Patriots are going through a little bit what they went through with Mac Jones a couple of years back, where they're trying to figure out the system that he works in, but he's not working in the system. And they had a full offseason and everything. I don't think it's working. I think it's something that can develop and can, come like a come to Jesus moment, and this Patriots team starts going off. But it's the Patriots. All they need to do is run the ball, play good defense. They'll win a bunch of football games. With that being said, I'll go Dak. Patrick in the chat, start Hollywood, Jeudy, or Jaylen Warren. I mean, I'd probably start Jerry Jeudy, if I'm going to be completely honest. Who are the Browns playing again today? I forgot they're playing the Ravens defense. I don't know if I want to fuck with that. I'd go Jaylen Warren then and roll the dice. I mean, I do have a bias against Hollywood Brown. I don't believe he can actually catch a football. So that's my issue with Hollywood. I would probably go Jaylen Warren. Judy's going to get a lot of targets, though. Jeudy is going to get a lot of targets. He's going to have to, because let's be real, the Browns are going to play from behind, and Joe Flacco is going to have to air that out downfield. So, yeah, why wouldn't you look at Jerry Jeudy? Okay. I've changed my mind. Sorry, Jerry Jeudy. I talked myself into that somehow. Will in the chat, need two to start between Evans, Hunter, Etienne, Pickens, and Sutton. I'm if you've watched this show enough, I am very anti Travis Hunter in fantasy. And I don't think that it's a good. I think you should drop him, if we're going to be completely honest. With that being said, Pickens does intrigue me with the Cowboys and the Giants. Again, that secondary is Swiss cheese. I think he's going to get a hell of a lot of targets. Mike Evans, though, is like, he's just a dog. And like, you can just start putting those points on the board. You know what I mean? And they're playing the Texans, and the Texans, one of the big things we used to talk about the Texans was how great that defense was, and now it's really not. And I think they're still going in the right direction. I think it's taking a lot longer than they want to. I'd probably go Mike Evans in that spot, bro. I'd more than likely go Mike Evans. Jaylen Warren or AK? Who's AK? Start one. Hollywood, Jeudy. We talked about that. Okay, I got to catch up. Got Bowers and Tyler Warren. Do I keep Bowers in and hope he plays, or put Warren in? Well, first of all, let me start off. I love the matchup for the Colts today. I do. I know this is quote unquote supposed to be one of the better defenses in the league, but that Broncos defense didn't look like shit last week, and they were at home. This is going to be in Indianapolis with Indiana Jones. I would probably go Warren. I think Warren's going to have a big game, and I think the way that defense usually schemes, you're going to be in a good situation with Warren. So I like that a lot. You think you start Stephon Diggs or Myers? I'd probably start Diggs. We'll be real. Danny Dimes is back. Road Dog over on the Rumble. We're over Danny Dimes. It's not Danny Dimes. It was announced last week on the fastest 3 minutes. It's Indiana Jones. And so I just got to respect, you know what I mean, those that have come before. And they're docking him Indiana Jones. I love Indiana Jones. But yes, Road Dogg, Danny Dimes is back. And like we talked about multiple times during the offseason, you give Daniel Jones a solid running back, a solid O-line, and one receiver, he's going to act like he deserves a 3-year, $400 million contract. God, what does that remind me of? The Jets? I mean, the Giants? Fuck. Alvin Kamara or Jaylen Warren. Sorry, Kevin. I guess I just have I don't. Bro, like, if you're starting Alvin Kamara, you're in a bad spot. That's all I'm going to say. And don't get me wrong, this 49ers Saints game is literally the shit game of the week. And so I would stay away from it. I'd go Jaylen Warren. I just wouldn't deal. I mean, Alvin's going to get a lot of touches. I do think this 49ers defense is good enough that it's going to not stop the run, but put it in a tough situation. And so I would personally go Jaylen Warren. Not a big fan of that matchup either, but I hate the Saints this year. Like, I hate everything about that football team this year. All right, what else are we rolling with? Rick Bowers. Oh, Risk Bowers or start Juwan. Bro, not a great spot to be in. I won't lie. I would probably start Juwan Jennings. I don't think it's worth Bowers. And we're so early in the season, like it does. And Pete Carroll has been here, done that I wouldn't be surprised if Bowers sits out this entire game. I wouldn't be shocked. Or he's on a very, serious snap count or something like that. That's kind of where I'm at with him. JB Dobbins, Coleman, or Pearsall at the flex. I love that Bills matchup against that Jets defense. The Jets defense is solid, but that's why I like Coleman in this situation. Coleman is usually, that second, third target, and you give it this Jets defense, which is solid. That secondary is solid. Like, I will give them credit where credit is due. But Josh Allen, again, we've talked about it, has spread the ball a lot more around since Stephon left. And so I would, personally, I'd probably go Coleman, JB. I would go Coleman. I would chill out. I would do that. And then, Pearsall, you're risking Danny Dimes. And that's, and that was a big conversation we had last week. Like, how much do you trust the quarterback throwing the football? Because that's what your fantasy team is relying on. Do you really trust Mac Jones to find Ricky Pearsall? I don't. But that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, going through these games, I mean, I love the Bengals -3.5. I love the Cowboys -5.5. I think the Lions get right here. I think this is a big Lions get right game. I think the Lions at home take on the Bears. Caleb Williams looks like shit. That offense looks terrible. Give me the Lions -6.5. Rams Titans. Rams 5.5 point favorites. I asked a coworker earlier this week, like, yo, do you think like your Titans are actually going to learn how to catch a football? Like, will those wide receivers learn how to catch a football within a week? And he did not sound very confident. This Rams team, as always, like, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the phrase I'm looking for? Age is like fine wine. And that's the Rams team in general. It's not they're not going to come out of the gates looking good. It's going to be, you got to wait until towards the end of the season to see what this team really looks like. The Titans defense is good. I think Matthew Stafford's not going to have an issue picking it apart if he is still healthy and still good to go. That back injury is worrying me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But again, unless the receivers for the Titans learned how to catch a football this weekend, I can't. Patriots, Dolphins. I'm all over the Patriots. The Dolphins are dead. Dolphins are dead in the water. They're a bad football team. They have so many behind the scenes things going on. Just Tyreek Hill in general is a bad thing. But I like the Patriots a lot. I think this is a good get right game for Drake May and Mike Vrabel. 49ers Saints, who gives a shit? I'm sorry, Spencer Rattler and Mac Jones. Do you guys really want to watch that quarterback battle? Because I personally, no, I don't. So it's going to be a defensive game. I'm probably on the under, if anything, at 40.5. Bills, Jets. I'm all over the Bills at 5.5. I think this Jets team is a lot better than last year. I love what they're letting Justin Fields do, and I think if they continue to let him do that, they're going to end up in a good spot. And so I do, but with that being said, I do like the Bills. I think the Bills have shown their hand. Like, hey, guys, like, we're here. And that was a hell of a game against the Ravens. But again, they came back. They won. I think that needs to be locked in our heads for the rest of the season. Like, this is a team that can come back and win football games. Seahawks, Steelers. I'm all over the Steelers minus 3.5. Homeboy seeing ghost again. Homeboy is seeing ghost again. That is for damn sure. So give me the Steelers minus 3.5 and what is looking like MVP Aaron Rodgers. Browns, Ravens. Ravens are 12.5 point favorites. That's a big line. That's a big line for how good this defense looked last week. I am going to stay on the Ravens minus 12.5. I'm not the biggest fan of this bet today. Not my favorite pick today, but I would rather be with the Ravens than the Browns. And also a little FU game for the Ravens as it announced, came out today from Adam Schefter and the boys that the Ravens wanted to draft Shedeur in the 5th round. And Shedeur and his agent essentially said, no, we'll see what we can do from here. And so that's how he ended up on the Browns, because he actually believed he could be a starter and he don't want to sit behind, one of the best running quarterbacks in the league that would complement your game great. Why would you want to learn behind him? Give me the Ravens minus 12.5. Thank you very much. Broncos, Colts. I'm all over the Colts money line. Like we talked about earlier, you give Indiana Jones an offensive line. You give him a starting running back. You give him a couple of weapons at receiver. You're chilling. Give me Danny Dimes and the boys with the Colts. Panthers, Cardinals. I'll be completely honest with everybody on this show right now. I hate this game. I hate this game because it feels like every year or whenever we play the Panthers somehow always have our number. And like a couple of years ago, what was it? Cam Newton, he just came off the couch and, did the I'm back. And that was Arizona. And so it worries me, but I like how we've seen Kyler Murray develop. I like what he's doing this year. And I think we're going to see a lot more of the same out of that. James Conner is a dog. Trey McBride is unbelievable. Hollywood Brown and that extra pounds he put on seems to have worked. Give me the Cardinals minus 6.5. Not the biggest fan of the bet, but I get it. Eagles, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, 14-0 as an underdog, playing at home, Super Bowl rematch. And did the Eagles really look that good last week? I understand, like, the whole Jalen Carter of it and everything, like the spitting and everything. It's not a pretty sight, but I'm on the Chiefs on this one. I'm all over the Chiefs. Josh in the chat, PPR, ETN or Kamara. I sit them both. I mean, I'd probably go Kamara. I think he's going to get more touches. I like where this Jaguars offense is going, but honestly, it's one of those, like, I need to see another week. Like, I need to see another week before I'd put my hard-earned money or risk a fantasy week with the Jaguars. That's where I'm at with that. Sunday Night Football, Falcons, Vikings, 3.5 point favorites with the Vikes. 44.5 is the total. I hate it. Where is the public on this? Because we didn't really see the Vikings. You know what I mean? We saw a quarter, and that quarter was really great. But was it that good? 25% of the bet, 79% of the money on Falcons plus the 3.5. Where's the money line at? 88% of the bets, 41% of the money on the Vikings money line. It's a shit game. I'll be honest. Like it's not one that I want to bet on. It's not one I'm looking forward to tonight to bet on. I think it'll be a solid football game, but I think it's a real coin flip. Is JJ McCarthy that good? Did we see his coming out party? Did we see him, actually break the seal and take that next step? I don't know. It's a little early to call that, but I'm leaning Vikings. I'm not going to lie. I'm leaning Vikings. I don't love how the Falcons have been scheming up that offense, and I think they can do a little bit better. But not only that, I think we got a little bit high on Michael Penix Jr. a little early. And I posed this question to Noah when we did our show last Tuesday. Like, you think Kirk Cousins could have won that game? It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter, but does Kirk provide a better opportunity? Who knows? Matthew in the chat, Pearsall or A.J. Brown? Is A.J. Brown still playing football? Is he still on the Eagles? Because I don't think so. No, I would you're in a bad spot. I would go Pearsall. I think A.J. Brown's going to be locked down all game from the Chiefs. And I think Ricky, and again, you got Mac Jones throwing to him, which is a little shit, but you got a little bit more leeway there. So I'd probably go with that. But we have about 10 minutes till kickoff. So I'm going to call it a day and get myself set up. And we're going to go ahead and enjoy an incredible Sunday with football all day long. Again, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Matthew, anytime, brother. Anytime. And thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. But everyone watching here on Rumble, over on YouTube, X, TikTok, y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please do what Matthew did. Hit that follow button. Hit the like button. Does help us out a lot more than you know. But with all that being said, have an incredible Sunday. Enjoy the football. It's going to be a good day. Good luck. God bless. I have been the Brofict 1 AJ, and I'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.